My brain just went dead for like 2 seconds. What the heck?
Oh yeah, same.
I wanted to say I wanted to start off with something amazingly cool, and my brain just went dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, just winging on the fly, Donald.
Yep.
What's going on, everybody? This is the General Geekery Podcast. We are back once again. The podcast. Yes, the podcast. The podcast where we geek out about all the things we love to geek out about with no remorse, no regrets, with all the enthusiasm at our disposal.
Good job.
Thank you. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, this is Donald Kaczynski, your coffee ninja by day, gamer and actor by night. With me, as always, is the autistic maestro herself, Hannah Kubiak.
Hello.
And we got a pretty fun topic today. Hannah was the one that suggested today's topic. Hannah, would you like to share what we are talking about today?
Absolutely. We are geeking out about our favorite female protagonists.
Oh, and I have plenty.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, as do I.
Plenty. So when we're talking about female protagonists to you, under what qualifications are we going to be headlining this for the topic? Just so we're clear.
Wait, what?
Okay. Let me rephrase that in a way that makes sense. Basically, for yourself, what do you always like seeing in a good female protagonist? Like, what qualities do you like more than some others?
Okay. Qualities that I like. I value intelligence and integrity and compassion, basically.
Yeah, that's...
And a good dose of badassery, if it's called for.
Yes.
Like, I was going through my list that I had of basically my favorite female protagonists from anything, and a lot of them were it was kind of just like, I started with people who are just tough, you know, like Lagertha from Vikings.
Ah,
she is awesome.
Very nice.
Just like, I love that scene where I think it's in the first or second episode of season 1, where her husband is going on the raids and he tells her that she has to stay behind, and she like busts into their room and she has her shield and a sword or something, and she just starts swinging away at him. She's like, "Come on, defend yourself." And they're just duking it out. And and she's like shouting at him, and they're arguing, and she's saying, "Why can't I come on the raid? I'm a better fighter than you. I saved your life," you know, and just all this stuff. And like, I just really enjoy how in Viking culture, women were taught how to use a sword, and they were respected, and like, I think they could be. They could rule over their kingdoms and stuff. Like, I thought that was really cool.
I'm not gonna lie. Every single time I think of like the Viking culture, for some reason, I'm always reminded of the Kingdom of Rohan from Lord of the Rings. For some reason, they share so many. They share so many similarities.
Yeah. The Kingdom of Rohan is based off of like Norse mythology.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to trail off on that. I just had that thought in my head, and I felt like I needed to share it.
Yeah, like, and Éowyn is a shield maiden. She knows how to. She has some skill with a blade.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
You know.
She killed the Witch King.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am no man.
Yeah.
Okay, so after I thought of that one, I just sort of considered it for a while, and I thought to myself, there's got to be more to it than just like being just as good at stuff as the boys are, basically.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like that's useful, but we also bring other things to the table. And the two that came to mind for me after that, trying to think of basically more intelligent people. Not that Lagertha isn't intelligent. She is. She's very savvy politically and stuff. Like, she takes care of the dukedom while her husband is gone, and she like pronounces judgment for people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But some of my other ones are no, I'm gonna let that be one of yours because I know what it is, so I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, do you know which one it is?
I do. Yeah.
Is it a certain major?
It is a certain major whose name I do not remember.
I had a feeling we both had her on the.
Yep.
Do you want me to take the reins on that?
Yeah,
on that
talk about
one?
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Major Makoto Kusanagi from the Ghost in the Shell franchise. Where for longtime listeners of the podcast, one of the earliest episodes that we did was we did a quick show analysis about the first season of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex that Hannah was reacting to for the first time. And a big highlight for the show for us was, of course, the main face of the entire franchise, Major Makoto Kusanagi. This woman is my interpretation of a badass. Like, everything that a badass should be. Like, she is... Like, just because of, like, the universe that goes in the shell, she's cyborg. She's cyborg, so she has like so much enhanced strength to her and everything like that. She's basically the leader of her own unit in this like militaristic police style organization of Section 9. But even throughout all that, with like the character developments and everything like that, like you understand, like you get like these deep understandings of like her mindset and what she thinks. Like you experience like some of her past traumas and everything like that, and there's nothing I love more than a character who's a badass get like moments of like emotional like depth and just like we get a crack in their security and view them in a different light. And we get plenty of those with the major. And and for some reason it's always more fascinating the more a character is presented as just this unstoppable force, almost like a hunting hound. Because
which she can be, yeah, because she's completely cyberized.
Yeah, exactly, and because of like her work in like past military and everything like that, she can be considered like in a weird way a dog of the military. But you see underneath all of underneath all the stuff in like those small character moments and like just episodes of like reflection and like analysis. You see little nuances to like her past and everything like that about how she felt about certain things, and I love those moments. I came for the show because the Major was a badass. I stayed because she's just a great character. And there's a reason why she is basically the face of this entire franchise that spans several movies, anime series, an entire manga run. Ugh.
Yep.
And why I'm rewatching the standalone complex series for like the 100th time during this during the entirety of COVID.
Yep. Sorry, I still have your DVDs of Second Gig that I haven't finished yet.
Oh, don't take your time with it. Take your time with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I know basically almost all of the episodes by heart.
Oh my gosh.
Which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. I think, let's see. Here's, I kind of am looking at this, and a lot of mine are kind of in different categories. We've got badass fighters, basically Lagertha and Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road.
Ooh,
is on my list.
That's another good one.
I like her because she like she can fight and everything, but her main objective in the movie Fury Road is basically I guess liberate the, what's the guy's name, the water town.
Shoot, I don't know. I don't, careful. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me look it up.
King of Watertown. Anyway, to liberate these women who have been enslaved by the King of Rivertown to be basically his breeders and have all of his little war boy babies.
Right.
And so she's got status in the world, but she throws it all away to help somebody who is more helpless than she is. Like a lot of people, when they have power, they don't rock the boat.
Right. Immortan Joe.
Immortan Joe, that's right. Yeah. And I guess maybe just because you judge people by their actions, I suppose. And she rescued these people. She's risking her life to make their life better. And even though she's like a higher ranking person in this world, she doesn't belong to the world. She has sort of an undercurrent of compassion beneath this tough exterior that has remained despite the brutality of her surroundings, which I really appreciate. I also am just a big fan of any character with a missing limb.
As you have stated before, stated,
and it doesn't hold her back at all. It's not like a disability. She's got her like robotic arm and stuff, but then also when she loses her robotic arm, she's still, fighting away just with the one arm, and it's awesome. And
yeah, thank you, Charlize Theron, for bringing her to life.
Yes, and I love just the aesthetic of like the shaved head and her just the wildness kind of. I love it when an actress or an actor, just anybody, doesn't care what they look like,
Yes.
They just go all out. You can tell sometimes that people are like, that actors are like, oh yeah, here we go, this scene like is something terrible is happening, but I still look awesome. I hate that.
Yeah.
I love it when people get like, like in Gladiator, when Russell Crowe's character finds that his family has been murdered.
Yeah.
And he's just there at the gates of his family estate, just sobbing. There's just snot in like strings of snot as he's sobbing over these family members that have been killed. And I'm like, that's beautiful.
Yep.
What a great piece of acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently that was like the first take as well, which I think is really awesome.
God, it freaking first takes, man. They're miracles sometimes.
Yep. Let's see, who else do I enjoy?
I've got one for the badass category.
Okay, yeah, let's keep going with the badass category, and then we can go into some other ones.
This one, for listeners of the podcast that listen to anime, I don't know if you guys have listened to this one, or seen this one. Rebby from the anime series Black Lagoon.
Okay, I don't know this one.
All right, so Black Lagoon is Black Lagoon is an anime that is a very tough pill to swallow. It's an anime series that deals with a lot of like the underbelly, underground, dark corners of society, from pirating, kidnapping, slave trade, like a lot of really, really dark crap. And it follows the story of this particular pirating group known as Lagoon Company. One of the members is named Rebby, or as she's more commonly known by her nickname, Rebby Two Hands. Because when you see her coming at you with, you're the target in her sights, and she's carrying her two handguns at her side, her cutlasses, you're dead. You're dead. She is a one-woman army. And oh my god, let me put it this way at how badass she was. There was basically a moment in the show where they basically had to take on an entire force, an entire cell of a neo-Nazi movement, like a military neo-Nazi movement. She basically killed like more than 75% of them just on her own when they were invading the ship with just a party of two.
Wow. That's insane.
And and the crazy thing is, like, she is just this stone cold killer throughout all of this, and she doesn't carry herself in like a proper way. She's so nuts. She is foul-mouthed. She is ill-tempered. She is I honestly think you would get a kick out of her.
Yeah,
you
think I would?
I think you would. Like, just hearing her cussing out basically everyone on almost every small little thing. I'm like, I'm just like, she brings such a weird comedic aspect to the show, but at the same time, also it doesn't take out of like the moment of like what the show is itself, which is awesome for me. She's
okay.
And this is, and funny thing is, Black Lagoon has several different female characters that are just like insanely strong and everything like that, and just like you just do not want to cross these women. And I could go into detail about that, but since we're talking about protagonists, I have to keep it on Rebby.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, you have to do a lot more to be respected as a woman, definitely. Like, you have to be strong, but you also have to be smart, and you also have to be like good with people. Like, I feel like there's a lot more expectations when it comes to being an accomplished woman, I guess. That's how I feel anyway. There's a lot more pressure.
Right. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of obstacles as well, like how people assume you'll be like and what you are like, that happens a lot. Let me see. I'm trying to think what I was going for with that. I'm not sure. I don't really.
So, outside of just like the badass spectrum of like female protagonists, what are like the prior to like, I think it was really like around like the 1970s or 80s where like women took on like more badassery roles of just like all the kick-ass shit and everything like that. Excuse my language. Sorry. All of this kick-ass stuff and everything. Like, what are some good female protagonists in just like roles from like classical times and everything like that? Like,
ooh, yeah.
Have you ever seen like the historical drama Victoria?
No, I haven't.
Like, I honestly think like that's a good depiction of like a classical kind of female protagonist. Of course, there's a little bit of like historical nuance with it, since it technically is kind of a historical drama. But I mean, that's an example of like a good female lead. That's still. And even outside of like television and movies and everything like that, like some of our favorite like female characters and protagonists honestly come from most plays.
Oh yeah, lots of plays, definitely.
Especially quite a few from Shakespeare.
Yeah, yeah. People often think that they have to that all of Shakespeare's women are should be portrayed as kind of like flighty and all that, but no. Shakespeare had just daughters, I think. And like
I think he
when he went home from the theater or wherever he went home to a house full of women, and it shows. There's so many just
No, wait, he had one
so
son.
many strong women in his plays.
He had one son that was named Hamlet.
Oh, didn't he die though?
Yeah, he did. But
Oh.
but he died young, but you are right, it was mostly daughters. Because I was like, I could have sworn he had a son, but I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he died young.
Yeah.
But
yeah, all these women. So he knew what women are capable of.
Right, like how many of them are just like, I think one of my favorite like female protagonists from Shakespeare is
what's the name of the play?
Much Ado. How am I forgetting
Much
this?
Ado? Beatrice,
thank you. I was like, I was gonna say Kate in my mind, but I was like, no, that's not Much Ado.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, in a comedy play like that, like you got the main female lead, Beatrice, this very quick-witted, sharp with the tongue. Her words are, they sting like a venom.
Yes. Now, here's my thought, because a lot of these women that I've written down, they are women who are not like me, I guess. Is something I was kind of noticing. Is I'm like, okay, I don't have anyone on my list who is like quiet and they're all really go get 'em kind of people. So maybe what I see in these women that I notice is sort of a boldness that I would like to have, and an independence that I would like to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of understand it. it's almost like when when you're a child and you look up to like your favorite like fictional superhero or like even someone on TV or something that you admire because they have qualities that you don't necessarily either have or show much of due to one thing or another, and like it kind of almost inspires you.
Yeah.
Almost.
Is
it?
I'm sure there are tons of like gentle, quiet, caring female leads out there, but I couldn't think of any of them because that would be me. And I want to be somebody else.
That understandable.
I want to not give a single care what anybody thinks, but I care so much.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any female character I know that actually is like that, but is not a side character.
Yeah. Because I think just in general, usually these kind of unobtrusive characters, regardless of whether they're male or female, usually end up being more of a side character.
Actually, I can actually kind of think of one like that.
Go for it.
Madoka from Madoka Magica.
Okay.
So, the reason why like I came that to mind was because I was recently listening to the Anime with Wine podcast. Go check them out. You were
listening to that too?
Yeah,
I was listening to that.
Yeah, I was like I saw you recommending them. I'm like, I'll check them out and everything like that. And I saw they were reacting to Madoka Magica, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. Oh, the magical girls.
It's such a good show.
Yeah.
And well, there's two of them in there that kind of there's two main female leads in there that honestly, well, it's a mostly female dominated show first of all, which helps it a lot. But two in particular, Madoka and if I remember correctly, Homura. Madoka is Madoka very caring, very she's very caring, very she can be very indecisive and everything like that, but she has like all these thoughts and everything like that, and through all this stuff that happens, like she never like gives up hope and everything like that. And then on the other side you have Homura, who's depicted as very, very stoic, very quiet, almost to the point of being cold. But there's a lot going underneath that exterior, which they do explain in a certain episode, which I'm not going to spoil because there's major spoilers in that show. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I don't want to spoil it because Madoka Magica is one of the best shows I've watched in the 2010s. It basically that entire show reinvigorated my love for magical girl anime. So, which started with Sailor Moon. Yeah, real. Anybody out there, if you're a real anime watcher, you watch magical girl anime.
Yep.
Enough said.
I'm gonna name a couple of others, and we can decide what kind of category they fit in, or if we have a new category we want to put them into.
Sure thing. Fire away.
All right. I am very fond of Lizzie Bennett from Pride and Prejudice.
Interesting.
Yeah. She speaks her mind, which I really admire.
Yeah.
And then conversely, when it comes to Jane Austen, I'm also quite partial to what's her name? Eleanor Dashwood. She's the older sister in Sense and Sensibility. She is the sense. half of that title. She's actually, yeah, she's a protagonist that fits into that kind of gentle, quiet person category. Because the thing is, the whole plot basically is that she's kind of shy and wants to marry this guy, but doesn't really go after him initially because there's all sorts of like impediments and everything, and that would be improper, and like she's got a lot of fear, and that sort of what's the word, manifests itself as sort of coldness. Like her younger sister who's very I'm in love again, it's just around. And there's this one scene where they find out that the man that Eleanor was in love with has gotten engaged to somebody else or something, and she reacts to it very calmly, and her sister goes up to her and is like, "Where is your heart?" And yeah, and she just goes off at her finally. She's like, "What do you know of my heart?" And just I've been keeping this to myself for months and months, and listening to you yammer on and all this stuff. And it's its own kind of struggle. It does often fall into the background, these kind of quieter people, because when you talk about like little girls growing up, like I was the little girl who would go and hide under a table and read a book or something. And then there are other little girls who will just like run around wearing a tutu and like spinning in circles in a living room floor and all that. But like everybody's different.
So if we were to compare you,
some people get noticed more easily, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
So if we were to compare you to one of the kids from the Chronicles of Narnia series, you would be more Susan than Lucy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair enough. For some reason, like I was trying to think of like some good female protagonists in my mind that from books that I've read, and I'm like, why am I not talking about Lucy and Susan from Chronicles of Narnia?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Especially Lucy. Just how she grows like over the course of like the books that she appears in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, Eugenia from The Help is an awesome protagonist.
Okay.
As well as, what's her name? Hold on. The book is right behind me. Let me grab it.
As she goes to reach for the book.
Aveline.
Ah, nice. Very nice.
That's a good story about Jackson, Mississippi in 1962.
Indeed.
And about like just fighting for people through writing, I guess. And bravery doesn't have to mean getting in people's faces. Although you can still create a stir by writing a book, as is evident by this story. Yeah, that's an awesome one.
Ooh, I have a good one. Not essentially a protagonist, but still like a very central figure in like this entire.
Mm-hmm.
Irene Adler from the Sherlock Holmes stories.
Oh, femme fatale.
Most specifically from the original Scandal in Bohemia short story. like where it's not a romantic interest from Holmes. It's it's all platonic because she was the woman who outfoxed the great Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
A high distinction. Very high distinction.
Basically, it's more of an intellectual respect, I guess.
Pretty much, because just when Holmes thought that he had everything figured out and everything like that, she turned the tables.
Yeah.
and I love that. And Scandal in Bohemia is one of my favorite stories from in all of like Sherlock Holmes in the original works by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
It's a great short story.
Yeah. Which, if you want to listen to A Study in Scarlet, our buddy Thomas, who's been on the podcast, has been recording his own podcast called This Spoken World. I think it's available on Spotify.
Yes, it is available on Spotify. He did the first Sherlock Holmes like full book Study in Scarlet. Go listen to him. Yeah. It's fantastic. He's got the perfect storytelling voice.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's almost unfair, but at the same time, I can't think of anyone else other than him being this wonderful storyteller.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm a big fan of Dana Scully from the X-Files.
Ooh.
I think she actually fits into that sort of... She's very composed and rational, which I really enjoy, because I often find that a lot of the time women are portrayed as being kind of overly emotional. And that's not to say that Scully isn't emotional, but
right, you're thinking of like some of like the outward examples where they just go on either one end of the spectrum or on the other end. There's no... Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, she is a doctor and an FBI agent, and she is assigned to work with this guy who works in the basement of the FBI headquarters, and he is researching like paranormal stuff. Like their first case that they are investigating a suspected alien abduction.
Oh yeah.
It's great. And so he's always got all these weird ideas about what happened, and then she's got the rational side of it. Like they go to a place that is they go to a place that's supposedly a haunted house, and he tells this ghost story where he says, yes, and then they had a murder pact. They shot each other and died in this house, and now every Christmas Eve they haunt it. And then she comes up with all these explanations as to why that isn't true. And he's like, man, you're such a buzzkill. But yeah, she's also got sort of that gentleness and softness to her. Like she has like there's episodes where we get to see her with her family, and it's really sweet.
Right. Mm-hmm. Actually, I actually was reminded of like another person from like a television show that's a big central one, just like her. Have you ever seen Law and Order SVU?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, so Law and Order SVU, running for over 20 seasons, probably like one of the longest running television shows airing right now, like on American television. And one character that has basically stayed on throughout the entire show since like the beginning was Olivia Benson, being played by Mariska Hargitay, and very, very, very composed, very outstanding woman. She has gone like above and beyond like everything. Like you just see her move up from the she started off just as like a detective. She became the second in command of the unit some seasons later, and I think right now she's running the entire SVU unit in the show. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head because it's been so long since I watched that show regularly, but I just remember her being such a highlight for the show, and I'm like she's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's stoic and serious when she needs to be, but she's always willing to listen and everything like that, and just make sure everyone's all right, especially because of the line of work that she works in.
Yeah.
And because it's such a very touchy subject for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And there are points when like it's just like the character just nails it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. You have to handle things very delicately in the SVU, definitely. But yeah, let's see. Since we're talking about law enforcement right now, Clarice Starling, Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yes. Good morning, Clarice.
Yeah. I like her a lot. Just in the book and in the movie, like.
Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy how like following that if I remember correctly, I think she actually ends up being married to Hannibal Lecter.
Does she?
I think so. I think sometime.
When? Not in the first book or whatever.
No, not at all. It's much later after that.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that.
I think
why?
I honestly don't remember. I have to look this up. Hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just honestly, like the times where she shines most is like when she's interacting with Hannibal Lecter and everything like that, and you just see like it's like a battle of intelligence and wit, almost.
Yeah.
So good, and in the film Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster does spectacular. She does spectacular.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Oh, I think. Yeah, you have to be pretty sharp to survive as a woman in this world, definitely. You got to have just that little bit of an edge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What about Jessica Jones? She's on my list.
Oh yes. Okay.
She amuses me no end. It's another one of those characters that...
We're talking specifically about the Netflix series, right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, good.
And she amuses me so much. It just the like no dams given, just a complete slob, completely, like her next door neighbor is sort of psychologically profiling her a little bit. She's walking down the hallway and she's like being really mean to him actually, and he's just like, you use sarcasm to distance people, and she says something like, like you use your odor to distance people later, Malcolm, and like gets into the elevator or whatever and leaves. And just, that's a lot of that is a mask and an expression of.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think like from like the list of like all the people we've seen, I think Jessica Jones is like the first like female protagonist we talk about that is like she is a damaged character. Like she has major PTSD from like the past experiences. For those who haven't seen the series Jessica Jones, please look it up. It's fantastic. Especially given by a lot of the actors, including Jessica Jones herself, and the main villain of the series, David Tennant, as Kilgrave, Kilgrave. I was trying to remember if I was saying the name right, and I was like, yeah,
Kilgrave, yeah.
Oh my god, but yeah, it's just she's very self-destructive. Like yeah, she has superpowers and everything like that, but in this world where some people like keep their powers hidden and everything like that, she does not care. She's just beyond the point of caring.
Yeah. Although, yeah, the one of the quotes from the first episode is, she says, "My greatest weakness, occasionally I give a damn."
Yeah. Which is crazy because it's what sets her on the path in order to like write all this stuff, because she comes upon a case that was similar to what she went through.
Yeah.
Because it was the same guy. So
yeah. And yeah, I guess sort of giving a damn and letting the world affect you it's actually, she describes it as a weakness, but I think it's a great strength, because, you know, a lot of the time as women, we get like put down for reacting emotionally to things and, you know, caring so much and everything. And so I think a lot of the time, something that's going on with a lot of these protagonists is they're putting up different kinds of masks, like I can't be hurt anymore, like, because I'm done with love, you know, I'm never going to be good enough to be in the boys club or whatever, you know, like all these kind of like damagedness, like you said.
Yeah.
And like it informs the way that the character wants to be seen by the world, and then the way that they actually are. And I think that sometimes we're not really allowed to be our true selves because the world won't allow it. So it's either like, oh, you're being a bitch, or you're being hysterical.
I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up, because there's actually a character that I just thought up of that basically is in that similar position of like putting on the mask, expectations of you, and just not showing what you really feel. It's actually in a game that I am currently playing on my streams on twitch.tv reviews.gamek7.
Shameless plug.
Well, I mean, I have to, because I'm playing through this. It's the character Makoto Nijima from Persona 5. So,
okay,
basically, for those that aren't aware of the Persona games, I'm also assuming, Hannah, you haven't played through the games, so...
No, I haven't.
So Persona is a series where it's every installment of the franchise like is different. You play as like different cast, different characters, everything like that, but you're all it's very centric of people in high school that gain these abilities called personas, like figures that they're able to summon from themselves, that is basically like a manifestation of their true feelings and their true feelings and everything like that. It's basically after everything is broken down, it's like their rawest emotions have basically taken form as these creatures that they're able to control and fight with. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's basically like the synopsis of everything like that. In Persona 5, there's a bunch of different things happening between people going randomly psychotic and having mental shutdowns, causing all these accidents throughout the city of Tokyo. And another thing that's happening is the rise of a group known as the Phantom Thieves that steal people's hearts. That
sounds fun.
Yeah, that you as the player character are actually in control of. But Makoto Nijima, she's introduced a little bit after like the first arc of the story, where she's basically the student council president of the school that you attend, and she's being put under a lot of pressure from the school principal in order to figure out who the Phantom Thieves are, because the problem originated at their school. And she's also under a lot of pressure from her older sister, who takes care of her, who she lives with, because her older sister is a prosecutor in Japan, and she's under a lot of stress from a lot of the workers and everything like that. And Makoto feels like has all this she just feels overwhelmed by all these expectations like placed on her and everything like that, and she's not able to like express how she truly feels.
Yeah.
Until you deal with her, until the party that you control deals with her directly, because she manages to find out who you guys are as the Phantom Thieves, and she automatically lets loose, and she is just this, and her persona power manifests as this demonic Mad Max looking bike that basically shoots off nuclear explosions. for lack of a better description.
Yeah.
And she just like goes totally nuts, and she just unloads on everyone with fists of fury, and it's and she's a very popular character in that game.
Yeah.
Mainly because of that. And I'm like, and as soon as that moment happened, I'm like, I now understand why you all like her. She's awesome. I was just listening. So yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That was that was one of mine.
Awesome.
That's what I had to share.
I have one more, and then maybe we can wrap it up with kind of what sort of categories we've kind of come up with.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have 3.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so I just finished watching this series on Hulu called The Great.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
I have not.
It is ridiculous. But anyway, it's about this girl from Austria who she is sent to Russia for an arranged marriage with the emperor. And the emperor is this really sort of just irresponsible, flippant, sort of party all the time kind of emperor. And he's kind of dumb, and he has all of these sort of frivolous ideas about things to do. People get annoyed with him, but they can't say anything because he's the emperor, and you could have their heads cut off and stuff. But it's basically about this girl who she comes, and he just treats her terribly at the beginning of their marriage, and she finds it unbearable to live there. And so she decides that what she wants to do is is start a coup and take the throne from him. Which is really funny because she comes in and she seems really flighty and whimsical, and like she gives him an evergreen twig as a wedding gift. She just says, "For it will represent our love, which will be evergreen," and stuff. But then her true colors and her intelligence comes out as she's sort of putting the pieces together for her coup, and just how she talks to people and sees what they want to hear to get them to be on her side and everything. Just the manipulation at court and how delicate it is, and just walking this very thin line between like keeping it a secret and trying to figure out when is the right time to approach this person and see if they'll help me kill the emperor, and stuff. And so when she's with the emperor, when she's in court or whatever, she'll put on this facade of still being that sweet little girl who gave an evergreen twig, but then underneath the clockwork is going, and she's thinking.
That's incredible.
It's just sort of like how you can use people's perceptions of you in a very surprising way.
Let the chess game begin.
Yeah, and there's often this when she brings up her idea to, like, I think it was like the general of the military. Finally, she tries to get him to come in on the coup, and he just laughs. He's like, you are going to be the empress of all of Russia. And she's like, yes, absolutely, I will be. I'll be better than him. You know it.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, using the power of words, and that's it, to get people on her side. Yeah. So.
And in the words of Albus Dumbledore, words are, in my most humble opinion, our most inexhaustible form of magic.
Yup. Absolutely. So, in brief, what I have come up with as we've been talking is these sort of three. This can go for any kind of protagonist, really, but it kind of came up in this discussion. We've got the badasses.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the badass, the savvy, and the gentle are the three that I've come up with. And so these badass kind of people are like the Major, Furiosa, Cara Dune from Mandalorian,
Ooh. Jessica
Jones. They've all got that's one end of what they could be like. Is sometimes that's put on to seem more tough and to, protect themselves. And kind of the thing that causes their story to begin, like with Furiosa, she has this high rank from being this badass. And then, unfortunately, she starts to care about these slaves, basically, Immortan Joe's, like, his breeders.
Yeah.
And that's what starts her on her adventure. Or yeah, Jessica Jones, she's just, trying to cruise through life, numbing all the pain of what happened in her past, and then all of a sudden something comes up that she can't ignore.
She gave a damn.
And she gave a damn, and it starts this whole story, and it's such a pain in the ass to give a damn, because then you have to do things, and then you have to be a hero, and yep. I just wanted to be left alone and to just not care and not feel, because caring and feeling it's painful, and I'm not doing it again.
Yep.
okay, so that's the badass. The savvy, like Irene Adler, Catherine from The Great, Lizzie Bennett, Victoria.
The strength.
I'm gonna put Dana Scully in there too.
Yeah, the strength of words.
Yes, the strength of words in the mind. You can use your wit and words to protect yourself. And I think that a lot of the time the journey of the savvy is the journey into letting their guard down a little bit.
Yeah, that one, the savvy one seems more of like a like less of a physical journey, but more of just more of kind of an emotional one.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of like, here I am, and I am smart, and you can't get to me, and you can't make me feel, But then, like, one of the things that caused Catherine in The Great to have some problems was that this is very strange. All their social stuff is really weird, but her emperor gives her the gift of a lover. And she originally doesn't want anything to do with the lover because he distracts her from what is really important, which is the coup.
Yep.
But then she falls for him and starts to distract her. And it becomes sort of this thing where she has to decide between her relationship with him or her, like, what kind of an empress she could be, like the plan and everything. The people we care about are our weakness.
That's true.
And a lot of the time when you're a savvy, caring about something, or like letting your guard down and letting somebody into your mind palace can kind of cause things to get knocked over and misarranged and everything.
No, not the
that
good
can make
China.
that can make it hard to be savvy when you're distracted by beautiful brown eyes or whatnot.
or whatever color you find appealing in a person's eyes.
Yeah. And then there's the gentle. It's like Madoka and Homura, Eleanor, Aibileen in The Help. And the struggle with these people is they know how to sort of keep things peaceful and avoid getting in trouble by being gentle and unassuming and quiet, which it can be a very those are positive things sometimes, to be humble and to take care of people and stuff. But when you start to get suffocated and everything, then you have to start like being brave and speaking up. And that's
yeah, it's almost like several characters that are defined by the gentle are more in a neutral sense. Like it's like a neutral understanding until the choice needs to be made.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that try to keep the peace.
Yep, you try and keep the peace.
So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, those are three very interesting. Those are three great categories, and honestly, like even between like all of the three categories you listed, we can even branch them off into like separate subcategories that intertwine with each other, almost like a 3-circle graph.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is kind of nuts because Homura that you put in the gentle can cross over into the badass category as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm not completely satisfied with what I came up with here, but I did do it as we were talking. I was trying to think of, okay, and what do those have in common and stuff. And
It was a work in progress in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Maybe someday I will share these thoughts more completely and not so much as just the end result of a lot of threads getting scrambled. But yeah, I mean, these three sort of I guess I'll call them like armor or protection, you know. These kind of armors that people put on. They can apply to really anybody, but it kind of has a special sort of. There's different connotations to a lot of these when you're just talking about women. I guess just because of a lot of it is about the way that you're seen, which and the what kind of how people categorize you and how you try to fit into those categories or not, depending.
Indeed.
I don't know. Whoa, lots to think about. Definitely.
Yeah. I cannot say that any better myself. I think that's a great way to leave it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way. Thank you for
sure.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts. Those are some great thoughts. All right. Well, there's plenty to talk about with this, but I think we got all of our favorites off at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's wrap this up. Thank you guys so much again for listening to this episode of the General Geekery podcast. As always, if you like what you hear, make sure to follow us wherever we can be found. We can be found on Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, on my personal YouTube channel at Anime Rev Productions, all that good stuff, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can follow us on social media at General Geekery on Instagram and at Gen Geek Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. Hannah, where can they check you out at?
Well, you can find me rolling dice with my party, Loaded Dice Adventures, on Monday nights at 7:30 at twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Pythian Legume, or listen to the Splankniks podcast, where me and my mom discuss literature and art and tabletop gaming through the lens of two different generations.
Awesome. And you guys can check me out on social media at RyuzakiMK7 on Instagram and Twitter. And you can also check me out at twitch.tv at RyuzakiMK7, playing through all different manners of games most weeknights. Yeah, other than that, that's going to be it. This has been episode 31 of the General Geekery podcast, all about female protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Donald Kaczynski. Hannah, do you want to lead this one off?
Sure. How do I do? All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and make sure that you respect the women in your life, and always remember, keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink.
Yes. Good job.
One of them is actually a candle.
Later, guys.
Bye.